Rock, metal, and hard rock are all similar genres of music because of one key feature, and that's the use of electric guitars with distortion and gain. This innovation allowed guitars to have heavy power chords and sharp screaming harmonics on the high end. These unique sounds became a big part of the identity of these genres, helping them stand out in the music world. Electric guitars have had a massive impact on the music industry, but how did they become so popular? After the innovation of electric guitars, two powerhouse companies, Fender and Gibson, capitalized on the growing demand for these instruments. Fender was founded in 1946 and became the American classic. Gibson, which has been around since 1902, shifted its production to mainly focus on electric guitars between 1936 and 1952. These two companies not only supply guitars to iconic musicians like Jimi Hendrix, Elvis Presley, and Eric Clapton, but they also created models like the Fender Stratocaster, the Telecaster, and the Gibson Les Paul. These guitars laid the foundation for electric guitars as we know them today. This came from the Trot article in 2026. One of the two most defining features about electric guitars is their ability to be highly customizable, particularly in the comparison to acoustic guitars, because unlike acoustic guitars, electric guitars don't rely on specific body shape to produce sound. This flexibility allows there to be experimental designs and influence with both the instrument's sound and aesthetic. While Gibson stuck to a more traditional design, Fender started experimenting with larger cutaways to allow for more frets and a sleeker, more metal look. Today, companies like Ibanez have gone even further with headless guitars and unique shapes like the Flying V or the X. These changes didn't just impact the way that guitars sounded, but they also changed the way that musicians presented themselves on stage and their personal image. Another significant advancement was the development of pickups. Pickups are small magnets that detect string vibrations and send them to an amp. Where these things are turned into sounds, electric guitars offer different pickup configurations. Some of the most sensitive pickups are called active pickups. They were introduced, and this was a major turning point in electric guitars. Around the same time, they also were able to come up with whammy bars, which added guitars, further allowing them to change something called the tremolo. This allows there to be a tightening and loosening of the strings, like the Floyd Rose as a whammy bar, which can manipulate the pitch and hadn't been possible before on instruments like acoustics. The tremolo bar was also typically used on less sensitive pickups, but it would add subtle changes to the pitch and create a slight vibrato. In contrast, the Floyd Rose was a whammy bar that was used on electric guitars with active pickups and extremely sensitive pickups. These pitch manipulations made a perfect storm for heavy solos and metal, like in hard rock bands. Companies like Ibanez, Schecter, and Jackson Guitars began to specialize in making whammy bars like these Floyd Roses so that you can have intense solos with added complexity to the music. This development was a key rise of the metal genre and led to bands like Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold, and Ozzy Osbourne incorporating these techniques into their songs. In the early stages of development, distortion was often accidental, and it was a result of the amp having a malfunction. However, musicians began to experiment with these sounds, and then they really liked how they sounded, so they ended up opening a new market for guitar pedals. These pedals didn't just allow musicians to have control over the distortion and other effects, but they also opened up a whole new market. The guitar pedal industry grew like crazy, and the guitar pedals market increased by 45% in just the last decade, according to Mix Magazine in 2016. This growth had been tied directly to increasing popularity in electric guitars, as pedals allowed musicians to shape their sound and explore new tonal possibilities. Aside from the physical characteristics of electric guitars, the rise of this instrument also gave birth to a new generation of superstars and top-performing bands. The unique tones of metal led to an entire new genre. One genre that is openly identified with this is heavy metal. Metal's distortion and aggressive sounds and loud guitars and fast drumming is the thing that made metal a signature sound and a signature genre. It would not have been possible without electric guitars to have distortion effects that would create things like Metallica and other bands, according to Capuzzo in 2021. Metallica, for example, is one of the most famous metal bands known for their use of distortion, high gain, and effects, which helped define the genre's signature sound. Metallica's success wasn't just due to their technical skill, but it also tackled serious, sensitive topics in their music, allowing it to further appeal to a bigger genre, according to Samela and Akian in 2022. The evolution of electric guitar technology has also allowed for musicians to develop techniques to showcase their skills. With the increase of versatility in the instruments, artists were also able to incorporate techniques like pinch harmonics, dive bombs, tapping, bending while they're playing, and others. These techniques began to create a hallmark for the iconic musicians. Jimi Hendrix, for example, is remembered for his use of the wah pedal. He used this in his hit song Voodoo Child. creating a sound that was instantly recognizable. Similarly, with Kirk Hammett from Metallica, he was famous for his boomer bends and fast pull-offs. And then Sinister Gates from Avenged Sevenfold was famous for his sweep picking and alternate picking patterns. These techniques, combined with effects, were only able to happen on electric guitars, allowing musicians to develop truly unique sounds and build their identities as artists. In conclusion, the event of the electric guitar didn't just change the way music was played. It revolutionized the entire music industry. Electric guitars allowed for more infinite customization, new sound possibilities, and advancements in playing techniques. They led to iconic bands such as Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold, and others, and also led to a new genre of rock and metal. Guitar pedals and whammy bars and pickups gave musicians more control over their sound, which was able to allow them to express themselves in ways that had never been possible before. This transformation not only shaped the sound of modern music, but also created a platform for artists to become global superstars, changing the music industry forever. Thank you.